So let's start about learning Java. So I would like to introduce you to this Java language, and there are separate modules in Java. For example, each module contains some more folders which can contain some Java files which have the necessary code. So first, at the top of every Java file you have to specify the package to which the Java file belongs. Then we have to import all the necessary libraries or functions and methods, and then we start writing our Java code. So in each file you will have a class which can be defined by the modifier class in the class name, and then whether it is a function or a class or a method, they will be specified between these curly braces which specifies the whole body belonging to a particular block. So starting off, we can declare the methods as public or protected. The public methods are accessible anywhere, while protected methods are accessible only in the class in which they are defined. And methods are basically functions that we define, which we can reuse again and again as per our needs. Methods are defined with some pre-written logic. They take some input on the basis of how they are prototyped, and then they give some output. Then the structure of any method is as follows. First we will type the modifier such as public or protected. We can also specify the method or a variable to be static, which means that it will consume memory only once and will be available to all the members. And if we declare anything as final, then it means that it cannot be changed later on once assigned a value. Moreover, a function returns some value, and if you don't want to return any value, you can simply use the void keyword, and this keyword is used in a method or in a class to define the current scope or the current reference. So we define a method as modifier, then return type, the data type the method will return. It can be integer like here, string, or it can be void if it does not return anything. So each Java file contains a public static void main, that's the main method, and it accepts a list of string, and whenever you execute any Java module, this main method gets executed. So here I have defined an integer jj and called it as percent with the first argument as 650 and the second argument 65. So basically this percent method divides the first argument by second argument, multiplies the result by 100 and returns it. Then we use system.out.println in Java to print out any text output. Now whenever we define any variable in Java, we first write the type of the variable. It can be a native type or it can be a class which we have to instantiate. Moreover, we can define the methods which we want to use in the starting. So like we can say examples means data type. Is a type of examples class that I have created here, is equal to new example. So I am initiating a new object from the examples class, and classes are basically blueprints which we can define, a standard blueprint which can reuse again and again. Each class belongs to a specific package, as I told earlier, has some variables of it, and has its own methods of it. If you define anything as protected, then you cannot access it directly from other Java files like this. So I've created a new examples and then I call the function store. So what basically happens is the store function stores the name in as the name of that particular object or instance that you have created from this class. So as soon as I call this new examples, so basically this variable which is of examples class has instantiated from it and has assigned its own scope of memory in which a string name and a string gender have been stored. As I call store, the when things are stored respectively. So basically store method of this example class accepts a string name and a string gender and assigns them. And then when I call getIt, it does some processing on the data we have already stored and returns the output. So let us say then we print out system.out.println mm.getIt, which returns a string, that is a message or a character array we can say technically, and then our program finishes. So let's see what's the output. It's running our particular Java file. So first the system.out.println methods tutorial gets printed, and then string.value of jj, which can be used to convert any integer, double or float variable, or any other variable supports string conversion, and then it prints 1000 value as string. Then we have name of the boy is a boy. So basically we store in this variable, which is an instance of examples class, the name as name of boy and gender as male, and when we call the getIt method, this condition satisfies it true, and it returns this dot name, that is name of boy is a boy. It concatenates the two strings or joins the two strings in easier language and it prints it. So this was all about methods which can be defined in classes and accessed. See you in the next tutorial for more Java lessons and further learning about Android programming.